Hey dolls, welcome back to my channel and happy Freaky Friday. I hope you guys are ready for the stories that we have today. We have some really good ones. Thank you for everyone who has been submitting. Today I have this look. I really wanted to do some different lips, especially since Halloween to me is around the corner, so I am getting in the mood. I mean, it's pretty much always Halloween here at Herrera Manor, but it's even more exciting when all the stores are selling all of their Halloween decorations. Yay! So I got this witchy vibe for you today. Did my hair a little bit different, which I think you guys are going to love. Again, thank you so much. You guys have been so incredible with my Freaky Friday videos. These videos get such great interaction, especially since I've been telling you guys about the whole YouTube thing. Once again, I'm going to sound like a broken record because I am going to repeat it just in case anybody was not aware. Not everybody watches this because not everybody likes to get spooked. So I have a handful of my subscribers watching it, but you guys are so interactive and incredible. I don't want to stop doing these. The issue with that is that these videos get a lower view rate and then my other videos get their normal rate, so then that messes with the average, and then YouTube just sees it as people aren't as interested in watching these videos. So YouTube won't notify a lot of my subscribers about my uploads because now it's messing with my regular uploads. So all that I ask is just please interact with these Freaky Friday videos. They have been doing so much better. I've been getting new creepy dolls coming in and watching these videos, which is really great. I love it. So by interact, just please give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below any comments so we can beat YouTube's algorithm. We are doing great. It is getting better and better each time I upload, which I absolutely love. You guys are incredible. I love you so much. But now I'm going to stop blabbing. If you are not subscribed, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification to be notified when I upload videos. All right, dolls, let's get into these stories. Okay, dolls, so today's first Freaky Friday story is from Janie. Hi Ashley, I've been following you for years and will continue to do so. Love you and your vintage style so much. I love you more, my love. Love how laid back your videos are and the variety of content you have. Thank you so much, my love. I really appreciate it. Anywho, this story is about my husband's cousin. He himself did not worship La Santa Muerte, but his cousin's roommate did. His roommate had a whole altar in his bedroom. The roommate made a promise to La Santa Muerte in exchange for his mom's health. He failed to keep that promise and a few weeks later got very sick. He eventually died of cancer. He was a perfectly healthy young man before that. After the roommate passed, the cousin had a lot of things happen in his home. Vacuums turned on by themselves, unplugged. Shadows would appear at the foot of his and his family's bed, and the creepiest thing was when their car turned on by itself. The windows were going up and down like crazy. My husband was there for a family party and went to the bathroom. He says he saw a shadow and froze. He could not move for what he felt like an hour. Of course, it was a few seconds. It's like the bad energy stayed there. I went only once and the air and energy was so heavy. The cousin's family had a lot of bad luck the years following. He eventually ended up being arrested for drug use. His wife divorced him and he is sitting in jail right now awaiting deportation. I hope my story makes it. I have so many stories. I'm from a rancho and you know we have the wildest stories. Haha. Thank you, Janie. La Santa Muerte. I don't know why so many people do that, knowing the bad stuff that can come your way. Thank you so much, Janie, for sharing your story. So this next story is from Kayla. Hi doll, my name is Kayla and I'm from Front Royal, Virginia, and I have a scary story for you. So to give you some background, I used to work at a hospital which has been around for a very long time. Long enough for my grandmother, who worked there for 45 years, and her mom to have worked there. The unit I worked on is set up as a square with our medication room right across from the nurse's station. I worked night shifts and I was making my way around taking vital signs, blood pressure, pulse, etc., and got a high number. So I went out looking for the nurse for the patient. I saw what I thought was the nurse and called her name. Now, it was around 3 a.m. and I didn't want to yell too loud because patients were trying to sleep. So I called her name and she didn't appear to hear me. So I started walking back to tell her, and I go around the corner, saw her go into a room that didn't have a patient in it, which wasn't uncommon if there was something that they needed in a different room. But as soon as I walked in the room, there was no one there and it was freezing. So I'm freaking out and I run back up front where the nurse's station is, and the nurse I was looking for comes out of the medication room. When I told her what happened, she tells me that there is this ghost dressed in scrubs that walks that back hallway at night with short brown hair, just like the nurse I was looking for. So needless to say, it freaked me out. I hope this wasn't too long, and I love your Freaky Friday series and have been a subscriber for multiple years. Love you and your content, and I love how you've changed your style to match you as you've grown older. Best wishes, and I hope you pick my story for Freaky Friday. Thank you, doll. Thank you so much, my love. It really just means so much to me that you guys follow me for so long and continue to grow and change with me. I know my style is still mainly vintage, but I do like to dabble in other styles here and there, and you guys are always so welcoming. I love you guys so much. I always find it so creepy if you're working in a hospital, because hospitals have so much death in them, so I can only imagine all the spirits roaming around in there freaking people out. Thank you so much, Kayla, for sharing your story. This next story is from Sienna. Hi doll, I am Sienna and I love you. I love you more, babe. So to get into what I'm writing to you about, this happened about a month ago. It is summer, so I am staying all night. So about 3 o'clock in the morning, I decided I needed to go to sleep, but my mom had told me to get in the shower before I went to sleep. So that's what I did. I was in the shower singing when all of a sudden the lights went off. I was freaking out, but when I stuck my head out of the curtains, the lights went back on. At that point, I just wanted to finish and get out. But then a cold breeze flew in and I heard the door open, but everyone was asleep. We have a window near the tub and it flew open. All of a sudden, I saw a black hand reach right for me and it pulled me out of the shower and I hit my head on the tub. I am fine, but then I saw it crawling right to me on the floor. I went to bed, and when I woke up, I had bite marks and scratches all over my body. I told my mom and the house got blessed and cleansed. Nothing has happened since. Sorry it was long, but that is my story. That's a short story, but a good one. Okay, how the hell did you go back to sleep? Probably would have taken me a week to go back to sleep. What did your mom say when you told her? Girl, I'm still tripping out about the fact that you just went back to sleep after something that you saw tried to freaking kill you, basically. That is so creepy. Thank you so much, Sienna, for sharing your story. Okay, also this next one is a long one, and it is from Sandra. Hi, beautiful. First of all, I just want to say that evil energy is real. You call it and it will come with a vengeance. A few years ago, I was in a long-term relationship with someone who was very deep in the heavy dark metal scene. He often listened to satanic music, and against my better judgment, I let him listen to it around me. I even met and went to shows with him sometimes. Side note, I totally hate that specific genre of music. We are polar opposites. I believe in God and grew up going to church, and he doesn't till this day. This particular incident, of course, late at night, when coming home from a wedding, I would always have him walk me to the bathroom late at night because he would often hear unexplainable noises, like when we'd hear heavy footsteps in Sister One's room upstairs, only to hear her come home 20 minutes later. She was too scared to sleep in her room. Also, Sister 2 and Mom would see things as well. Anyway, to get to the bathroom, you have to walk through the kitchen and then through their laundry room, where there were 2 laundry machines next to the windows that faced his backyard. He usually leaned in on those machines with his back facing the windows until I was done. So this night was no different. I used the bathroom, and when I opened the door, I noticed him staring at the picture frame that hung in front of him. I noticed he was staring a little too intense, so I asked him what was wrong. He shook his head and said nothing. So I figured he was just daydreaming and didn't think much of it. We are already in bed with the light off and says that he's worried about his sister 1 and feels like something is not right and has me call her. She picks up and I tell her that her brother is worried, and she tells me that she's already on her way home. I hang up and he starts to tell me that he's having a hard time breathing and feels like there's something on his chest. I asked if he wanted to go watch TV, and at this point I started to get scared when he said to turn on the lights because he's scared. Keep in mind, this man is big, 6'3", almost 300 pounds, and I never heard him say he's scared. So I turned on the lights and noticed that his whole body had goosebumps like chicken skin. Remember when I said that if you call evil, it will eventually show up? Well, the week before, he bought this big-ass chain of Baphomet, a demon, and he'd been wearing it the whole week. I begged him not to wear it because I knew only bad can come from it. After turning on the lights, he turns to me and says, "It's that necklace." I told him that I knew it was the necklace and for us to go throw it in the trash. He didn't want to throw it in the trash, so we drove to the beach about 5 minutes away. We walked to the pier and tossed it in the ocean. We walked back to my car, and by this time the nerves got me and I started crying. I just wanted him to be okay. He comforts me and tells me he's feeling and breathing better. We drive back to his house, and his mom and sister too are waiting for us in the living room. They both somehow know what's going on, and mom is ready to splash holy water. He refused, and my dumbass accepted his decision. We go back to the room, and this is where it scared the living daylight out of me. We are laying in bed with the lights on. A strong breeze blows the curtains into the room and would rise up instead of going back to its normal resting spot. It was almost as if someone was lifting them up, and when it would come to full rest, I would see the form of the Baphomet. At first, I was in disbelief, but quickly realized that I wasn't crazy when I saw it a few more times. I literally felt like my soul sunk into my feet, and my body got an instant cold sweat. I asked if the window was open, and I'm sure she saw it too because he quickly got up and closed it. I was always taught to pray when I was scared, so I fell asleep with the lights on, praying to God. Now, this happened on a summer night in Southern California with maybe a slight wind, if that, so I know the breeze that was coming in was not normal. The next morning, everyone got up to go to misa or church. I am not Catholic, and he tried to use that excuse to not go, and also because he didn't remember anything that happened, so he didn't understand why I was forcing him to go. I made him get up so we could join them. When we get to the church, he complains the whole time. He can't be there and complains. He says he's really uncomfortable and feels suffocated. I tried to make him stay, but he gets really angry and walks out. We could only be in service for 15 minutes because that's all he could take from being in there. We get food and go back to his house. I don't know why. I'm an idiot. We are once again talking regular, trying to forget the whole ordeal from the night before when they started to close the door little by little until they slam it shut. We both quickly got up and left the house. Now, as I type this, I realize and wonder if the backyard had some kind of correlation to this, as his window, his sister's window, and the laundry window face the backyard. I am happy to report that the relationship is long gone, and since then my life has improved almost immediately. I got good job offers. I grew mentally and financially by doing nothing different than what I was already doing. I'm an empath and feel like I am also sensitive to this kind of thing, as I have other stories, but we'll save them for another time. P.S. Sorry, this read is super long, and I hope I was able to make myself clear so you can enjoy it. Well, I definitely enjoyed it, and that is so sad to hear about, well, your ex-boyfriend now, but I don't understand why you would want to wear a necklace like that. I mean, if you're willing to wear a necklace like that, you have to know the possible things that could be coming to you. And I would assume that if you're wearing it, you're perfectly prepared for any of that and none of that scares you. So clearly your boyfriend wasn't prepared. He probably thought it was a joke. But that still is not a joke. People do not mess with things like that. Thank you so much, Sandra, for sharing your story. And I'm so glad that your life just completely changed to something positive after you cut ties with him. This next one is a shorter one, and it is titled, My Baby Visited Me. Hi doll, my name is Hamlet, and I love your videos. You're so beautiful and genuine, so this is my story. Thank you, my love. I'm 33 years old, and my fiance and I have been trying to have a baby. Well, last year I found out I was pregnant, but sadly my baby didn't make it. It was a very tragic experience. I always felt in my heart that our baby was going to be a little girl, so we named her Bella Rose. Oh, that's such a beautiful name. About 1 week later, I got woken up around 2 in the morning by what sounded like a baby crying. I thought I imagined it, so I went back to sleep. Then I heard it so clear as if the crying was right next to me. I got up so fast thinking that someone got into our apartment. The crying was now coming from the living room. Not going to lie, I was terrified. So I made a way to the living room with a bat in my hands, thinking I was going to fight someone. My fiance worked late at the time. Then all of a sudden, I hear something fall to the floor. I freaked out and I ran to turn on the lights, and I saw a rose pendant that my brother gave me a few days after my miscarriage, so I will never forget her. I was in tears. From the hallway, I see this very soft, glowing light. I wasn't scared anymore. All I felt was joy, and I couldn't help but smile. I think my baby came to say her goodbyes. I hope my story wasn't too long. XO Hamlet. Oh my gosh, that is the story we needed. That is so sweet. I definitely do think your baby spirit was there and saying hi or goodbye to you, but I don't think she's saying goodbye. I think she wants you to know that she's there and she's always going to be there for you. That is such a sweet story. Thank you so much, Hamlet, for sharing your sweet story about your baby. And I'm very sorry to hear about your miscarriage. Okay, dolls, so this next one we have is a pretty long one I'm excited about. And I believe it is Mia Bella. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I wasn't sure if I wanted to send in my supernatural stories, as I could legit write a whole book, lol. I decided to just send you the couple of experiences that still make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I've always been like a light drawing in the supernatural. Even as a baby, things happened to me and around me that my mother and family couldn't explain. That has followed me my entire life. This includes sleep paralysis. I taught myself to pray and call on Jesus to protect me during these attacks, and oftentimes as I'm praying, which I'm screaming out loud during the dream, but can't be heard by anyone else. My voice will start to get deeper and deeper until it sounds demonic, and finally when the attack breaks and I wake, I'm drenched in sweat and burning hot to the touch. Anyways, the two stories that truly stick out in my mind are these. When I was 12, right before I turned 13, I was staying at my biological father's house for the weekend. Well, this house they lived in was very active and I hated being alone anywhere near the property, even outside. Well, I decided since my stepsister was gone, I would take over her room and started moving my stuff. In order to get to her room, I had to pass through the living room and by my father's bedroom door. As I brought my last box through, something hit me like a brick wall, right at the end of the couch, right at the opening of his door. I looked over, completely paralyzed by fear, only to see a huge black outline as big and as wide as the front door frame, standing there inches from me. As soon as I saw it, I was thrown back onto our couch and the box of stuff landed all over my head. What I saw and felt all those years ago, I can still remember as if it happened only yesterday. My father had a lot of bad in him. He ended up dying of a heroin overdose only a few months later. I think whatever that entity was there to claim him. The second story I have is about a house I lived in Madison, North Carolina, off of Grapevine Road. When I moved in, my cousins warned me about the things that they had often seen and experienced, but I didn't know that I was going to be targeted by whatever was there. This house had several spirits. One particular spirit was incredibly evil. Within the first week, I woke up with the claw marks on my back, even though I slept on my back and wore a ton of layers because it was so cold that time of year. My cousins and I would wake up to what sounded like footsteps walking above us, which was a crawl space attic, and on certain nights, our windows would be tapped on. I was told by everyone in the house that the activity exploded when I arrived. Before that, it wasn't nearly as bad. Halloween night, my cousin Helen and I were sitting talking in our room when we noticed something walk across our TV screen, which was off. The very next morning, I got up from school super early as I always did, and when I came back to the room, I noticed my cousin Helen was sitting at the edge of her bed, which was really weird. Her hair looked crazy as fuck. And as I walked towards her, her head was down and she wasn't responding to me. I thought she was just trying to scare me, so I swung my hand out to touch her shoulder, and my entire hand went through her. I screamed and landed on my bed, threw my covers over my head, and woke up the whole house. When I told her what happened, she was freaked out because we always heard each other's voices calling for one another. But then when you would go see what they wanted, it wasn't them, or they wouldn't even be home. Anyways, we ended up moving upstairs to the rooms my uncle built above the garage. Big mistake. All night long, we heard walking up and down the stairs right up till our room. I would sit doing my homework on my bed, and the light switch in the room next to me would flicker off, as if it turned off by the switch. It didn't just go out. I had roofing nails fly out at me and hit me. I was always bruised or had weird marks when I woke up that weren't there before I went to sleep. It was never-ending activity. Finally, my aunt and uncle decided they were going to sell the house and property. So just to see what she would get on a voice recorder, my aunt set one up one day before she left. It was then none of us were home and only the animals were in the house. I'll never forget the look on my aunt and grandmother's faces when we got back from school. My aunt wouldn't even speak about what was on the tapes, but my grandma told us that it was inhuman spirits growling and talking, even cursing at our dogs. My other family members often saw things as well, like my aunt who couldn't sleep at night and would be in the living room. An entity would stand by the TV and just glare at her. I think some type of portal was opened as the property not only surrounding ours, but also ours as well had broken pottery buried. Doors that were embedded in the mountain and creepy as, and creepy ass hair in the middle of the field up from our house. I could legit go on forever, but I'll let you go. I love your channel and recently lost my grandfather around when you lost yours. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, my love. I know how hard it is. Since his loss, I lost 2 grandmothers and my brother who was murdered at 27. Your channel has been a much needed slice of happiness. If you would like more stories like when my grandparents and older cousins played with the Ouija board, mountain property that was known for Indian artifacts, or when my grandmother rented a house that had the stairs torn down and had to be rebuilt before they moved in, let me know. I have stories for days, girl. I can even tell you about the time my cousins went to the broke down castle that a young woman died going across the bridge on. That was scary. Love you. Mia Bea. Those evil spirits were really trying to get to you. And yes, I do want more stories. We all want more stories. I'm really sorry to hear about your grandmothers and your grandfather, and especially your brother dying at 27, such a young age. Thank you so much for seeing my channel as happiness in your life. That really warms my heart and that really makes me so happy. Thank you so much, my love, for sharing your stories. Please send in more, and I love you so much. And now the last story for episode 11's Freaky Friday. This one is going to be a short and sweet one, just so it doesn't get too long, and it is from Stephanie. Hey girl, hey! Thank you so much for starting this incredible series for us horror babes. So this is my scary story. About 10 years ago, I was living with my parents and sharing a room with my toddler sister. She must have been 4 or 5 at the time, and we slept in a twin bed. And the twin bed was placed against the wall, so my sister would sleep on the side facing the wall. We would also sleep with the hall light on and the door cracked since my sister was afraid of the dark. On this night, my little sister got up to use the restroom. So she woke me up as she was climbing over me to get out of the bed and use the restroom. I was half asleep as I was waiting for her to get back in bed, and she did. Later on that night, I woke up to the sounds of footsteps, and I thought it was my sister again using the restroom. I opened my eyes, and standing right beside me was my sister, but I couldn't see her face, or anything for that matter. She was pitch black from the top of her head to her feet, and the light coming in from the hallway would not penetrate through her. I wasn't scared. I felt more confused than anything. And again, I say, Nicole, get back to bed. And I hear my sister say in her sleep, I am in bed, and my eyes widened. Without closing my eyes completely, I can still see my sister standing over me, and I begin to reach behind me, and sure enough, I can feel my sister in bed. I closed my eyes and I prayed. I never opened them again. I fell asleep, and when I woke up, it was morning. Whatever this thing was, it chose the silhouette of my sister. I don't know what this thing was. A shadow person, perhaps? It never happened again after that. Thank goodness. Thank you for reading my story, and thank you so much for being an inspiration and for representing us OC girls. I'm from Anaheim and attend Santa Ana College. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Love you, babe. Steph. Okay, so that thing was definitely, yeah, it was a shadow person, but clearly even more evil than the usual ones because it's trying to trick you and it's forming the shadow of your sister. I always hate when these things do that because you know they mean business. Thank God you have not experienced it again after that. Thank you so much, Steph, for sharing your story, and yay, woo woo, Orange County. So that is it for our stories today, babes. Thank you so much everyone who has contributed to Freaky Fridays. We are now going to move on to the outfit, hopefully unspook you guys a bit, but you know how that goes. Alright dolls, let's get into this outfit.
Okay dolls, so for the outfit I have the Fashion Nova You Needed jumpsuit, and I've paired it with the sheer floral lace top, and this is from Forever 21. I found this just this past weekend and I fell in love with the top. I paired it with my choice hat that I got a long time ago, so as you can see there's the romper underneath, but this sheer top is so perfect. You can pair it with shorts, pants, this jumper, and then I have my Steve Madden Peace Love Venice booties that I got years ago. They're no longer available, unfortunately, but there are some sellers that are selling them on Poshmark. And here is a close-up. As you can see, it's a cropped sheer top. Just very cute, and I love the puff sleeves. And it does go all the way up to the neck and buttons from the back. As you can see, I'm super red because I went to the beach and I got burned. Here is a close-up of the booties. I am so in love with these. They go perfect with my lipstick.
So that is it for today's video, babes. Thank you so much for all your stories and creeping us out. If you do have a story to submit, please submit to freakyfridays with an S 2019@gmail.com. And also please don't forget to interact with this video, like it, comment down below so we can beat YouTube's algorithm. You guys have been doing such an incredible job. Thank you so much, my loves. I hope you have a Freaky Friday and I will see you soon. Bye, loves.